Welcome back, boys and girls. So we are on chapter 32, Beware of the Rats. The candlelight on Meg's tray revealed Gregory limping toward her, the thick rope tied around his ankle, his hands outstretched. You, Gregory presumes, have brought the food for the jailer. Gore, said Meg. She took a step backwards. Give it here, said Gregory, and he took the tray from Meg and sat down on an overturned kettle that rolled free from the tower. He balanced the tray on his knees and stared at the covered plate. Gregory assumes that today there is no soup. Ah? Said Meg. Soup, shouted Gregory. Illegal, shouted Meg back. Most foolish, muttered Gregory, as he lifted the cover off the plate. Too foolish to be born in a world without soup. He picked up a drumstick and put the whole of it in his mouth and chewed and swallowed. Here, said Meg, staring hard at him, you forgot the bones. Not forgotten, chewed. Gore, said Meg, staring at Gregory with respect. You eat the bones? You are most ferocious. Gregory ate another piece of chicken, a wing, bones and all, and then another. Meg watched him admiringly. Someday, she said, moved suddenly to tell this man her deepest wish, I will be a princess. At this pronouncement, Chiaroscuro, who was still at Meg's side, did a small, deliberate jig of joy. In the light of one candle, his dancing shadow was large and fearsome indeed. Gregory sees you, said to the rat's shadow. Roscuro ceased his dance. He moved to hide beneath Meg's skirts. Huh? Shouted Meg. What's that? Nothing, said Gregory. You aim to be a princess. Well, everyone has a foolish dream. Gregory, for instance, dreams of a world where soup is legal, and that that rat, Gregory is sure, has some foolish dream too. If you only knew, whispered Roscuro. What? Shouted Meg. Gregory said nothing more. Instead, he reached into his pocket and then held up his napkin to his face, sneezed into it once, twice, 3 times. Bless you, shouted Meg. Bless you, bless you. Back to the world of light, Gregory whispered, and then he balled up the napkin and placed it on the tray. Gregory is done, he said, and he held the tray out to Meg. Done, are you? Then the tray goes back upstairs. Cook says it must. You take the tray to the deep downs, you wait for the old man to eat, and then you bring the tray back up. That's my instructions. Did they instruct you, too, to be aware of the rats? The what? The rats. What about them? Be aware of them, shouted Gregory. Right, said Meg. Be aware of the rats. Roscuro, hidden beneath Meg's skirts, rubbed his front paws together. Warn her all you like, old man, he whispered. My hour has arrived. The time is now, and your rope must break. No nibbling this time, rather a serious chew that will break into 2. Yes, it's all coming clear. Revenge is at hand. Chapter 32, A Rat Who Knows Her Name. Meg had climbed the dungeon stairs and was preparing to open the door to the kitchen when the rat spoke to her. May I detain you for a moment? Meg looked to her left and then to her right. Down here, said Roscuro. Meg looked at the floor. Gore, she said, you're a rat, ain't you? And didn't the old man just warn me of such? Beware the rats, he said. She held the tray up higher so that the light from the candle shone directly on Roscuro and the golden spoon on his head and the blood-red cloak around his neck. There's no need to panic, none at all, said Roscuro. As he talked, he reached behind his back, and using the handle, he raised the soup spoon off his head, much in the manner of a man lifting his hat to a lady. Gore, said Meg, a rat with manners. Yes, said Roscuro. How do you do? My papa had some cloth much like yours, Mr. Rat, said Meg, red like that. He traded it for me. Ah, said Roscuro, and he smiled a large, knowing smile. Ah, did he really? That's a terrible story, a tragic story. Reader, if you will pardon me, we must pause for a moment to consider a great and unusual thing, a portentous thing. That great, unusual, portentous thing is this. Roscuro's voice was pitched perfectly to make its way through the tortuous path of Meg's broken-down cauliflower ears. That is to say, dear reader, Meg Sowry heard perfect and true every single word the rat Roscuro uttered. Okay, and we have an amazing picture here of Roscuro. So we've got Roscuro is here, and he's got the spoon on his head. And then we've got Miggery Sow, and she's listening, and it says, a rat who knows my name. You have known your share of tragedy, said Roscuro to Meg. Perhaps it is time for you to make the acquaintance of triumph and glory. Triumph, said Meg. Glory? Allow me to introduce myself, said Roscuro. I am Chia Roscuro. Friends call me Roscuro, and your name is Miggery Sao. And it is true, is it not, that most people call you simply Meg? Ain't that the thing, shouted Meg, a rat who knows my name. Miss Miggery, my dear, I do not want to appear too forward so early in our acquaintance, but may I inquire that I am right in ascertaining that you have aspirations? What do you mean, aspirations? Shouted Meg. Miss Miggery, there is no need to shout, none at all. As you can hear me, so I can hear you. We, too, are perfectly suited to each other. Roscuro smiled again, displaying a mouthful of sharp yellow teeth. Aspirations, my dear, are those things that would make a serving girl wish to be a princess. Gore, agreed Meg. A princess is exactly what I want to be. There is, my dear, a way to make that happen. I believe that there is a way to make that dream come true. You mean I could be the Princess P? Yes, your highness, said Roscuro, and he swept the spoon off his head and bowed deeply at the waist. Yes, your most royal Princess P. Gore, said Meg. May I tell you my plan? May I illustrate for you how we can make your dream of becoming a princess reality? Yes, said Meg, yes. It begins, said Roscuro, with yours truly and the chewing of a rope. Meg held the tray with one small candle burning bright, and she listened as the rat went on, speaking directly to the wish in her heart. So passionately did Roscuro speak, and so intently did the serving girl listen, that neither noticed that the napkin on the tray moved, nor did they hear the small mouse-like noises of disbelief and outrage that issued from the napkin, as Roscuro went on unfolding step by step his diabolical plan to bring the princess to darkness. End of the third book. Book the fourth, Recalled to the Light. Chapter 34, Kill 'em, even if they're already dead. Reader, did you not forget about our small mouse? You did not forget about our small mouse, did you? Back to the light. That was what Gregory whispered to him when he wrapped Despereaux in his napkin and placed him on the tray. And then Meg, after her conversation with Roscuro, carried the tray into the kitchen. When she saw the cook, she shouted, "It's me, Miggery Sao, back from the deep downs." "Oh, lovely," said the cook. "Ain't we all relieved?" Meg put the tray on the counter. "Here, here," said cook. "Your duties ain't done. You must clear it." "How's that?" shouted Meg. "You must clear the tray," shouted cook. She reached over and took a hold of the napkin and gave it a good shake, and Despereaux tumbled out of the napkin and landed directly, plop, in a measuring cup full of oil. "Ack!" said the cook. "A mouse in my kitchen? In my cooking oil? In my measuring cup? You, Meg, kill him directly." Meg bent her head and looked at the mouse slowly sinking to the bottom of the glass cup. "Poor little Missy," she said, and she stuck her hand into the oil and pulled him out by the tail. Despereaux, gasping and coughing and blinking at the bright light, could have wept with joy at his rescue, but he was not given time to cry. "Kill him!" shouted the cook. "Gore!" said Meg. "All right." Holding Despereaux by the tail, she went to get the kitchen knife. But the mouse tail, covered as it was in oil, was slick and difficult to hold on to. And Meg, in reaching for the knife, loosened her grip, and Despereaux fell to the floor. Meg looked down at the little bundle of brown fur. "Gore," she said. "That killed him for sure." "Kill him even if he's already dead," shouted the cook. "That's my philosophy with mice. If they're alive, kill them. If they're dead, kill them. That way you could be certain of having yourself a dead mouse, which is the only kind of mouse to have. That's some good philosophy. That is, kill them even if they're already dead." "Hurry, you cauliflower-eared fool," shouted cook. "Hurry." Despereaux lifted his head from the floor. The afternoon sun was shining through the large kitchen window. He had time to think how miraculous the light was, and then it disappeared, and Meg's face loomed into view. She studied him, breathing through her mouth. "Little Missy," she said, "ain't you gotta go skedaddle?" Despereaux looked for a long moment into Meg's small, concerned eyes, and then came a blinding flash and the sound of metal moving through the air as Meg brought the kitchen knife down, down, down. Okay, and you can see here in this the picture of Despereaux, and you can see the knife. Despereaux felt a very intense pain in his hindquarters. He leaped up and into action. Reader, he scurried. He scurried like a professional mouse. He zigged to the left, he zagged to the right. Gore, shouted Mig. Missed him. Ain't that a surprise, said the cook, just as Despereaux scurried under a crack in the pantry door. I got the little Misi's tail, though, said Mig. She bent over and picked up Despereaux's tail and held it up proudly to display it to Cook. So, shouted Cook, what good will it do us when the rest of him has disappeared into the pantry? I don't know, said Mig, and she braced herself as Cook advanced upon her, intending to give her a good clout to the ear. I don't know. Okay, we're going to leave off there. So chapter 35 next time.